Hi, my name's Shawn Shaler. That guy down there is my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek, and I put him below me this time instead of above me, and that really threw my brain off for a second. Like I was looking at Chris's block, and I was like, that don't look anything like me. That looks like, oh yeah, it looks like Chris. That makes a lot of sense. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing good. Doing good.
That's it.
Works
Just,
good.
just
Oh,
good.
well, okay, yeah, doing good. Work works good. I've been re trying to redo my avatar uh area
I see
here.
you put a sub shelf in there to accommodate for your statues. I
I
think that's
did.
pretty cool.
I cut that out today.
Is it
Getting very handy.
foam core board?
It's just like some probably eighth inch, no, quarter inch wood
Oh,
carp.
okay.
No, not eighth inch wood.
Okay.
Yeah. We just had the material left over from doing some bathroom remodel.
Oh,
But
it looks very appropriate, and I like the cutout, which is probably the most important part, right? The cutout to
yeah,
accommodate Aang. Looks great, man.
yep.
Nicely done.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. Still more changes there to come. I got to do a couple of different rearranging because I first had these four statues here over. Yeah, had these four statues over like there area over there. I don't want to turn my camera. My base man, is a mess. My son just threw a bunch of sticky stars all over the place, and it's annoying. Um, and so I'm just getting. So I want to have them all in one spot. So that's my goal for the next couple of days. Not really. I have bigger goals, but works.
That sounded really deep. No, I have bigger goals. Like I want to talk about like heaven and the afterlife, but also this basement someday.
Yeah. Work's been good. There's a jerk guy who I feel like more people are saying he's a jerk. I mean, not. Yeah, anyway, he just annoys me. Like, oh, there's this one issue that he brought up about like this performance standard, right? Like, cause I work for an insurance company, and there's a certain standard, like, hey, we gotta make sure these people blood pressure is good. And but he complained because he didn't know who didn't have good blood pressure or not. So, and he's been complaining about this for like months and months and months. So I come up with an idea. All right, here we'll do this to fix the issue. And then we're doing a whole strategy meeting for next year, and I bring up, all right, we're going to do this to do this and this, and then he's going to be like, you know what? That's really not the problem. And then
What?
my boss,
What?
my boss IM'd me. He was like, didn't didn't we just have a whole hour conversation last week about this? I'm like, yes, this has been a whole deal that he brought up, and then and I was like, you know what? I just gotta laugh at it at this point. And then he was like, I was just having the same conversation with the bosses, who's my boss's boss, who's his boss, and he was like, yeah, he's so hard to work with. But yeah, had a
Knowing that it's
presentation.
recognized by other people is kind of a good step one.
Yeah. Oh, my boss's boss probably hates him more than I do. The things I don't hate him. Like I'm like, all right, I can figure out a way to maybe use him to help out
Channel
customers
his
and stuff.
oddities. Yeah.
Yeah. And my boss is like, listen, if we need to do something, just leave him out of it. I'm like, I don't know. I can't do anything. I'm not the the like
The
he is like.
project manager or whatever.
Well, I mean, he is a very specific role. I don't get too much information. He's a very specific role that I do not have education on. It's not something that I could do. It's like he is the person to do this, but or we can get a vendor to do it, and that's more annoying. But
It is. I know it sounds appealing in a sense, but
yeah, anything you do in house. But no, I had a presentation and I killed the presentation. And I always hate it because I'm always nervous before presentations, even though when I get into it, no nerves go completely away and I'm just in it. But it's just I just hate the anxiety before
you got to find
presentations.
your basketball like pregame routine. You got to find the music or
No,
whatever it
oh, I
is that
would
pumps
get
you up.
yeah. I mean, I used to get nervous before our basketball games, some stupid reason. But yeah, I don't know, it's weird. But I was gonna say, oh, I do think being a YouTuber has really helped out my presentation skills. Like being able to just to take, to create a script or even just an outline, especially when I'm doing like movie reviews, just create an outline,
Kind of a
knowing,
storyboard in a sense.
yeah, yeah, knowing that, all right, these are these 3 points I need to remember. I wrote them down, and I can talk just from memory off of those points and then create segues. Like being able to write down all the points you want to convey in a good, cohesive, very flowy manner is very important. That's something that being a YouTuber, you can kind of develop that skill. But
That
not saying I'm a great YouTuber, but it at least
Well,
helps.
you didn't. I think first of all, you're being modest, but second of all, like you didn't get worse by being on YouTube, and you could be a
That's
bad
true.
YouTuber and still say I didn't get worse. I'm sure it
Yeah.
helps. So thanks, YouTube. Way to go. Yeah, I mean, it's a storyboard. A presentation is a storyboard. You have to have a very cohesive, sensible beginning, middle, and end. And yeah, makes sense to me. Well, way to
Yeah.
knock out your presentation, buddy. I
Yeah, it's like a meeting every month I got to do in front of like execs and stuff. And your meetings all you always know you did well when no one asks any questions. You're like, yeah, good.
you
No question.
that's because you're intimidating, Chris. You
Yeah.
you
Thing is, you know how people
you went too
in those things
strong.
like people are always like, and does anyone have any questions? I don't want to ask that. I just want to end it. But I do because that's what you do. Yeah, right. You gotta ask people, do they have any
No, you
questions?
gotta, Chris. You gotta amp up your questions game. You gotta say, what questions do you have? Yeah, you put the
Oh,
pressure on.
that's ballsy, Shawn.
You put the
Like
pressure. You put the
it's
pressure.
one
No,
thing.
it's a tried and true sales tactic because it's an
No,
open-ended question instead of a close.
I
You put the pressure on them,
it
Chris.
there's a lot of that that's a lot of it exudes a lot of confidence. Not only are you saying does anyone have any questions, you're asking for a question. I hope to
You're
reach
like,
that
I got
pinnacle.
this. Bring them on.
Bring on whatever question. No, I'm just trying to get through without people being like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. Not just this guy, this whole area of people. What are you guys doing? But
I end like every meeting or anything that I even kind of lead where I have the opportunity to do that. Like I would, what questions do you have? Nobody ever
that
have any
I,
questions because nobody ever listens to me, and that's probably fine.
I mean, true. The thing is, if they had a question, they would ask it. But you sound more confident by saying, what
What?
questions
Yeah,
do you have? Yeah, not just do you. There's a difference between do you have any questions on what questions do you have. The thing is, you'll probably get the same amount of questions no matter what.
I think so. Yeah, it's very much just a perception thing. Like, oh, you see the balls on that guy.
Yeah,
It's,
I don't know. I might try that out one day, but I feel like I'll catch just the right, just the right VPs and be like, oh, this guy's testing me. Okay, all right.
I don't think the VP is gonna be like, a little too confident for my taste.
Let's take this guy down a notch.
Let's let's go make him work in the
But
mailroom or something. I
yeah,
don't know what that sounds. Now I'm being mean to mailroom people. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Chris, unusual question to take you with here, but I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't like winter because I just hide inside and I play video games and I watch movies. And I was like, Shawn, it's a stupid reason to not like winter and a really good reason to like winter. So I was wondering if, for no particular reason, before we started this episode, as our teaser, as our opener, if you'd share what do you, if any, during this winter when you can't go outside because stuff is stupid, but you don't have to mow and things like that, so that's a bonus. What are your hobby binging things? Your TV shows, your video games, your hobby things that you're gonna binge, like over the slow holiday season when you can't do other stuff.
honestly, Sean, my life doesn't really change that much depending on the seasons. Like it's all just work,
Mine
raise
changes
kids.
drastically. It's so hard for me to believe.
Yeah, it's just work, raise kids. It's then 10 o'clock. Then I either go to sleep or watch whatever is on TV
Or
or
start a
try to
podcast.
watch. Yeah. The thing is, lately I've been going to sleep at like 10:30, which is,
What?
I mean, it's good for. I
It's
mean,
good for
like
you
lately,
as a
like
human, but
past
it
couple
sounds like
days,
not Chris.
it doesn't. I'm usually. Other last night I was up to like 1 o'clock because I started on my shelf thing, and then that just keeps my mind going and keeps it up. If I'm just laying on the couch, usually, I just pass out on the couch.
Hashtag dad
Um,
mode.
yeah, but I don't know. And then there's like certain, I guess, holiday movies that I like to watch.
It's like if you
I
if you
can't.
took some time off just to be in your house with your kids over Christmas, not necessarily watching with your kids, but what are you pulling off the shelf?
Today was an interesting day because my mother-in-law wasn't able to watch my baby son, so it's just me and him like all day. Um, and I really wanted to just watch like some movies, but for some reason, there's something to do with anxiety. I think we've talked about this before that you want to watch just comfort stuff,
Yeah.
but also I don't feel like watching like a really long movie. So I'm just like I just want to watch 30-minute episodes of things. I'll watch a bunch of Batman Beyond. But
Especially if I'm doing like so if I'm cleaning the house or something like that, not only can I like not pay attention to it. So if it's a weekend and I'm doing some kind of chores, not only can I not pay attention to it, but I'm already doing something that I don't like. I don't want to risk watching something that I don't like also. It's like, no,
yeah,
I got to go to a proven commodity.
I know exactly.
Yeah, it's a weird
Um,
thing, but
I do think I'm gonna start binging Static Shock again, just so because I really want to do a video ranking every single episode for maybe Black History Month, and then maybe that would motivate me to start my YouTube actually YouTube channel back up a little bit more. I mean, it's in a kind of a stasis right now.
it's 2021 has been a stasis year for Chris's YouTube channel. And that's
That's
fine
true.
because he has multiple small humans that depend on him for their
Yes,
livelihoods.
and a job that like requires my attention.
Yes, just standard adult things as we try to survive a pandemic and come out on the other side happy and healthy. So, you know what? I think the YouTube channel is going to be fine
Yeah,
where it's at until you're ready. So, the big reason that I asked this question is there really is there's a dead period for me of when softball kind of stops
mm,
and when mowing and things kind of stop and we're not like I'm not super outdoorsy, but we're feels like we just are outdoors doing things a lot, and I find myself with way more free time, and so then I get excited when that time's approaching and I start planning. And Chris, I think first of all, I think I'm gonna the next anime I watch will be Yu Yu Hakusho. I will do
good.
it, and I will try really hard to stick with it. But I said that about Cowboy Bebop, and I couldn't even finish 2 seasons of that.
Wait, there's more than two seasons?
No, there's only 2 seasons, and I couldn't finish the 2 seasons.
Oh,
That's what it said. There's only two, and I only did one. And I can't stress enough.
it's not a lot of episodes.
And it's not a bad show, and I would never try to say that about the show. It doesn't hit me right. I don't care for it, but I will attempt Yu Yu Hakusho. But I don't know why I have the strangest urge to rewatch Game of Thrones, and
Just
so
remember how it ended, and then I think that urge will go away. Because I sometimes get that urge too.
So I'm trying to decide. Do I just go watch like the second half of season 8 and just hope it scratches the itch? Watch like the
Season
last.
eight, the last season?
Yeah, just go like watch the last 4 or 5
No,
episodes of season 8,
no,
and
that's just gonna make you more mad.
you just want me to think about them. You don't want me to actively watch them.
I mean, I wouldn't watch the last couple episodes of
That's
Game of
very
Thrones.
well. I was gonna watch that and hope that it
They're
like.
not
Well, no, I'm
they're
saying
not terrible.
I'm
Like
saying
in
if
a
I watch
vacuum.
those, that would be like the reminder of, see, Shawn, you don't
Oh,
really want to
gotcha.
go through all of that just to get to this. Like it would be the
Yeah,
reminder.
that probably, yeah. Just watch the last 30 minutes of the last episode, and I think a lot of stuff will come back to you, be like, oh yeah, Bran ended up being the king. What sense does that make? But
Because stories, Chris, somehow
he
make
has
it
the
get.
best he
He
has the
tells
best
good
story of all.
stories. Because you know how people who tell good stories like make good world leaders and stuff like that. It's great. But no, I've had a strange itch, and so all right. Well, you've got me thinking about that. But then the other thing, and this is so weird, so you got to hear me out. Is I have this really weird itch to go back and rewatch like the Sam Raimi Xena Warrior Princess and Hercules TV series.
That's a very strange
It's
itch.
it's very strange, and I think it's just because that was like when you don't have a lot of channels in childhood and you're flipping through on Sunday
Oh, I know,
afternoon
Shawn. I
or
used to
whatever.
love watching Hercules and Xena and Star Trek: The Next Generation
Yeah, you hit
with
UPN
Picard.
and they happen to be on, and you just let it sit there, and then it kind of grows on you over
Star
time.
Trek: Next Generation will come on right after Arsenio Hall,
Hmm.
which was cool. Or maybe Arsenio Hall came on after Star Trek. They were right. They were. I remember them very
I think,
much
as I
close
say, I do
together.
think you've got it flip flopped. Uh, it's funny. I just watched one of my favorite Arsenio Hall clips of all time the other day. He had Jason on, like Jason from Friday the 13th, but he was actually like acting like Jason, like he was just silent. He wasn't saying things. Like it wasn't the actor for Jason. It just was
Yeah.
Jason, and that cracked me up. And I remember enjoying that very thoroughly when I saw it. And I saw it as a child. It was already a rerun because it was well before my like conscious memory would have kicked in. But
Yeah.
it's a great one. But no, I've got a really strange itch. So there's just something of like a high fantasy itch of some type that I have,
Mm.
and I need to scratch it somehow. So
Just watch the Dragon Prince. I guess it's
yeah, that's
it's high
fair. I
fantasy.
mean, I think we're due. It is. It totally scratches that itch. I think we're due for Dragon Prince in late November, allegedly, or something, right?
Hmm. I have no idea.
I'll Google
It's a
it
good
on my
question.
phone when we're chatting or something. But I feel like it was in November or something. So yeah, if you have suggestions, and then I also the Grand Theft Auto 3 Vice City and San Andreas trilogy is coming out,
I saw that.
and that was a perfect. So I got my PS2 in 2004, so it's already 4 years old because I never do anything on time. And I went straight from an NES in my house because we didn't really do video games. We had an NES, and so then we jumped straight from an NES to a PS2. And if you know what video games are, you know that's a pretty extreme jump. And then like one of the first games, like I was old enough that playing GTA made me feel rebellious. Like my mom doesn't know I'm
Mm.
playing which is the perfect age for playing GTA, if you're being
Yeah.
honest. And so I felt like I was not old enough to be playing it, but it made me feel cool at that time. And now I'm a grown ass man trying to play these games on a Nintendo Switch console that I'm too old to own and enjoy as much as I do. And there's a weird reverse psychology to that I really love. So those are going to
I
come
never
out.
played any of the Grand Theft Auto games.
There's one or two that I would say are just genuinely good drama type. Like San Andreas is just a great action game. It's
Okay.
it's like a great story with Samuel L. Jackson in it, and that's awesome. And a couple other high end, and then like 4 is very cinematic, and then like 5 and Vice City are just more of like the stupid, insane violence and stuff, but they're very well done. So
Hmm.
I don't know, but I always thought I was really cool and rebellious. So some of my earliest PS2 memories was playing 3, and so I will buy those and I'll binge play those, and I'm very excited. I will buy those day one, Chris, and I don't know when the last time I've cared enough about a game to buy it day one. Not many. I can think of
Yeah.
none off the top of my head. I pre-ordered a couple of Dragon Quest games on the 3DS. That's all I can think of. So, anyway, I like thinking ahead about these things I'm going to do because my life changes drastically in the winter because I don't leave the house. But now I currently don't leave the house. Anyway,
All
Chris,
right, we've been talking for a while now.
we
20-minute mark. We need to
we
put a bookmark in this one.
we got to bookmark this one. Chris, let's talk about Book 3, Change in the Legend of Korra. It's chapter 11. This one's called The Ultimatum.
The ultimate. I think about community. When Troy says I'm giving you an ultimatum, you either give me. Wait, what do you say? Stop it. He says, I'm going to give you an ultimatum. I'm either going to take all the tomato or you're going to give me all the tomato. Something like that.
I don't remember how it goes, but something in that order.
Okay. So the ultimatum, boss can say, is in shambles. The Earth Queen has been taken care of or oft. Um, the shoot, I just watched this episode. Why do I have a hard time tracking it?
They have to go
Michael
deliver.
Bolin. Yeah, Michael Bolin finally find a way. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm remembering everything now. So they have to find the airship to go from Ba Sing Se to where Korra is at, which that's kind of messed up on Zahir. Like he didn't give them a way to go like get the message to Korra. He's like,
Deliver this
here's a
message.
message.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Come on,
like
man.
Zahir's just like waiting at the air temple. He's like, apparently the Avatar doesn't negotiate with terrorists. Well, I'm gonna kill them all.
Yeah. Just all on a technicality. Like, we couldn't get the airship started. Come on, man.
Yeah. So they hijack an airship and they go to save Mako's and Bolin's grandma. And this grandma, for some reason, cracks me up this episode. Like she is hilarious. Like, like she says stuff that old people would genuinely say. You're like, this feels real. Like this is what an old grandma would say. You know, because they don't have much of a filter, and so they say like the first thing that's on their head, on their mind. Um,
Yeah, that tracks.
but I like how she's like, Mako and Bolin are trying to get all their family to get on the airship and escape Ba Sing Se. One thing, the whole place is like burning around them. Like you actually see fire come in from a door behind smoke and fire. And
It's
and
very like impending doom, but
yes.
she holds her stance.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not leaving. Like this is where I raised my family. And Bolin is like, listen, being with Mako and live on the street and everything, I've learned that it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're with family, you're home. And then, there's this very tender, sincere moment. And you think he's gotten to her, and then she's like, I'm still not going. Which I find funny. And then he's like, whatever, I'm taking it. He grabs her. and then she's like, wait. And then she takes the picture of the queen.
The Earth Queen picture, yeah.
Yeah, the Earth Queen. Because she's very traditionalist, it seems like. She loves royalty, things like that. So they get on the airship and they're looking for Korra and them. And the thing is, they didn't really need to show them like tracking her, but I feel like if they didn't, fans would be like, "Oh, well, how did they know that Korra was in the water oasis?"
They had to
And
do
so
that for people like you, Chris.
no, people like you, Shawn. You're the I'm not. I don't get bent out of shape on like random. Oh, how did Kazan learn how to drive a car in
I
prison
don't
and stuff
notice
like that?
anything. I'm
You,
oblivious.
yeah, sure. um,
Listen,
and
you sit in prison for 15 years and drive a hover car when you get out.
a hover cart. It's a hover car now.
Well, this is you
Um,
in prison now.
oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then 15 years, and you come out, and there's got to be some kind of sky car tech of some type, right? Fingers
I
crossed.
honestly don't think we'll ever get to that. I honestly don't think we'll get to flying
We would be
cars.
more likely just to like work from home in more mass quantities and stop traveling altogether before we get to like legal sky
Yeah.
cars. I can agree with that.
Like you know how hard it would be. It's hard enough in the United States to uh to to manage traffic. like and we
In
live
two
in a
dimensions,
fairly yeah.
two-dimensional traffic.
So now you're talking 3 dimensions. Imagine trying to get on to a into a high merge onto a highway up. You have to look not only up that way but up behind you.
A
It would never.
a highway, pun intended.
Ooh
Huh?
yeah.
That's
Uh,
kind of funny.
but yeah, I don't think we'll ever have flying cars. Like
Yeah.
it's like it would be just for no reason.
I don't pick up on details, so I refuse to be thrown under this bus.
Like I can definitely see us going to driverless cars. I mean, we're already there, but I can see it becoming a mass thing just because safety reasons and things like that. Even though like they have accidents, but their percent of accidents is far lower than human.
Than us being
Um,
in charge of ourselves. Yeah, that sounds like
yeah,
humanity.
but like in iRobot. I remember there was that scene where Will Smith's like, "Oh, I'm gonna drive now," and the lady's like, "What? You're gonna drive?" And then at one point he's like, he gets on a motorcycle. She's like, "There's gas in this." Like I can see us getting to that point.
I haven't seen that movie in ages. Probably not
It's
since.
just I loved it when I first saw it, and since that I've seen it, it's been fairly decent, good rewatch. It's a good watch.
I'll go back.
Okay,
So they track Korra for reasons of
yeah. So they
detailed
check Korra,
Avatar watchers.
yeah, and then uh, Bolin sees Zuko, and he's all of us. He's like, This is Fire Lord Zuko. Like,
Like to his face.
and I kind of want Zuko to be like, how did you know it was me? And then Bolin not wanting to be rude, not knowing what to say, but like, guys, he knows like not that many people have a very distinct scar over their left eye.
That would have been primo. Oh, oh,
Yeah,
excuse me. That would have been like primo comedy. Absolutely.
yeah. Uh, so and then I love when when Bolin introduces when Mako introduces one thing, the grandma goes straight up to Asami and she's like, "Oh, you must be the Avatar that Mako told me so much about. You're very pretty." And and then Asami's just like, no, I'm not the Avatar." And then Korra's like, "Oh no, I'm the Avatar. Hi." And then her first thing she says is like, "You're very muscular for a woman." And then it's just
But then
like
she
that's the type
saves
of
it.
thing.
She salvages it.
Yeah, she salvages by saying like, "Mako, why aren't you dating women like girls like these?" And then it's so hilarious, like just
They all look.
like
They all look hilarious for a moment.
yeah, like that is something an old person says. Like I just love
Yeah.
this old lady, and
No, I
just like
can. That's
she's
my grandma right
yeah,
there. We're just talking about my grandma.
yeah, like something about grandmas, like they're so comfortable talking about your parents, they're talking about anything. They have no filter. I
Talking
remember one
about
time,
things
like
that are wildly inappropriate.
yeah, like I weighed like 175, I think in 10th grade, which my height was probably like 5'7" or 5'8" or something like that. The thing is, I was in fairly decent shape. I don't remember. I remember being in fairly decent shape. But my grandma asked me how much I weighed. I was like, oh, like 175. And she looked at, she had this like very discerning voice. She was just like, that's too much. That's too much.
She's brutally
And then
honest because she cares.
like I found it hilarious and my mom was right there. This is my dad's mom, but my mom's right there and she was kind of laughing. And in my head I'm be like, who do you think is to blame? Who was making me 7 sweet potato pies just for me? Just
Nobody
those
else
weren't
shoves food down my throat when I walk in a doorway, Grandma.
yeah. Those like she would literally make me 7 sweet potato pies. She'd be like, "Here you go," and just give me a bag of sweet potato pies. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
No, I
And
think I
and
remember pointing the
I really
finger.
felt bad when I got over my like love of sweet potato pies. And I think I made her sad that year. But
Because it
sorry.
was like a normal phase that children go through, and then yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, but anyway, so they had to make a plan, and oh, so Korra now knows that Zahir's going after the Airbenders because Zahir's tired of chasing her around. Which this really has been a whole season of him chasing her around, and he's finally like, you know what, I'm done. Um, and they're like, all right, we got to reach. Let's go to let's go to the Middle Clan because then they have a technology enough to reach the air temples, and hopefully they can radio in time. And then they finally get there, and Korra um, talks to Milo, and and she gets there and she has Tenzin tells Tenzin about Zahir, and he's like, it's too late. Zahir is already here. And
It's
then
a
at
very
this point,
dreadful moment too. It's
oh yeah,
he
definitely.
definitely
Like
imbibes a sense of dread.
yeah, like only 4 people. Like there's only like four benders to worry about on that ship, but he knows the threat that they face. So here's ultimatum is Korra gives herself up for the airbenders, and and she's struggling with this and everything, and then she's like, I don't. Like she talks about like man, like I wish, you know, since Juan, no Avatar has had to tackle on like all these issues without having their past lives. Like I wish I had Aang to talk to. And then she's like, well, actually, she she first tries to track down Zook, not Zuko, Zahir in the spirit world to maybe stall him or anything like that. So I like that they are going through all the possible plans that they could kind of go through. But then she runs into Iroh, and which is just I just love Iroh in this role of being an Avatar mentor, being like a spirit guide for all the avatars to come. Like Iroh is, I think, without a doubt, the best character in the series.
I
Yeah, I'm pretty firm in that
I
assessment.
have no qualm with that, and I have no qualm with the idea that he is trying his best to be a substitute for all of the past lives that the previous avatars got to access.
Yeah,
He's doing what he can.
yeah. And then he's like, you might want to talk to Zuko. Like, he's one of the closest people to he was one of the closest people to Aang. Maybe he'll tell you what he feels. It's like they had a rocky relationship to start off with, which I just love whenever we talk about how things used to be. Um,
They always say it with such a pleasant tone,
yeah, like I imagine them doing like a Family Guy flashback, right?
like a full
Or
cutaway or something. And
yeah, or a Scrubs cutaway or something like
yeah,
that, where you just see Zuko just trying to kill Aang. I mean, he's never trying to kill Aang because he doesn't want to
but
kill Aang.
just
He just
like
wants to
straight
get
up firebending at Aang in a
yeah,
fight or
and his
something, and then
and
you
his
cut.
angry
Then you bring
aggression.
then you bring it back, and you just see Zuko smiling kind of fondly, like, yeah,
Yeah.
good times.
Takes me back to that line I love from him in the episode The Southern Raiders, where where Zuko ends up like saving the team, and they're at a campfire, and Sokka's like, or they're at a camp something, and Sokka's like, camping, just like the old times. And Zuko's like, if you really want to be like old times, I could chase you around and try to capture you. And I just love that meta humor. Awkward meta humor is great.
Yeah, that would be a fun, like, if this were a slightly more comedic TV show, to have just a little like cutaway thought, even a thought bubble would have been
Yeah.
amusing.
Yeah. So she talks to Iroh, love having Iroh around. And then she goes talks to Zuko, and Zuko's like, I gotta go. I gotta go protect my daughter because this Sahir is trying to kill leaders of states. Like, I gotta protect my daughter. And then she asks Zuko for his advice about like what would Aang do. And then, he pretty much told her like Aang would do anything necessary to make his dream a reality or bring back the air nomads. Like he will be beside himself with joy with what you've done. Which I feel like oftentimes in the show, I feel like characters say things I feel like fans, some Korra haters should just like re-listen to. Like Korra has done so much. Um, let's see here. And then Korra is when she talks to Zuko, which I really love, after she gets advice from him, she was like, "Your uncle's right. Like you were really good to talk to." He was like, "You've spoken to my uncle?" And she was like, "Yeah, twice now, actually." And he still has this really shocked look on his face because he Iroh wasn't like, "Hey, Zuko, when I die, like I won't be like dead. I won't be like dead to the point that I've reincarnated in someone else. Like I'll just ascend and go to the spirit world." Like
I
Iroh probably
imagine
wasn't
that
sure.
Zuko's understanding of the spirit world probably isn't super thorough.
Yeah. And also that type of spiritual enlightenment to a point to where you can break your own reincarnation cycle. And also I'm speaking in terms of that I think are fairly factual, but un, proven. I think it's fairly proven.
But at
Just
the end, if you say,
anyway.
what questions do you have? I'll be like, he's got facts right there.
um, that the Iroh was like spiritual enough that he could, reach nirvana and reach spiritual enlightenment, that he could ascend and become a spirit. Yeah, Zuko has no idea that Iroh did that. But man, there was I think some great animation you can find of just Google Zuko Iroh reunite. Um, well, you might get his first reunite and with the White Lotus. But or I guess you say reunite in spirit world. Like it has Zuko like walking as an old man, walking up to the spirit portal, going through it, and then seeing Iroh, and they embrace stuff like that. That's like type of fan stuff that I really really love. There's some fan things that I hate because I'm like, you weren't paying attention. Like this can't happen. Like or this isn't, not that it can't have, or it's
Don't
not
let
likely
your
to happen.
fiction interfere with my fiction.
Well, no, I seen a video one time of like when Aang died, like like he or no, when Katara actually dies, like, and it shows like Aang's spirit like reaching up and grabbing Katara's spirit. I'm like, that's not how this works. Like when you die, you don't become a spirit. The spirit world isn't heaven. Like it's not the afterlife. It
It would be
can
a
be
very,
for
it
very
would be a
specific
very
people like Iroh.
strange heaven.
Yeah.
Like that would be a weird
But
heaven to aspire to. I don't know.
yeah. But anyhow. So that's pretty much Korra's part in it. They then on the flip side of it, uh, the Airbenders, the new Air Nation, is trapped by the Red Lotus, and they got them all gathered up. And I do love how Zahir, when he meets Tenzin, he's like, it's an honor to meet a real airbending master. Like he is genuine in his love of airbending culture, which I find that aspect in the villain to be really interesting. He's sort of starting to become almost a religious fanatic, especially in the Nets episode. I feel like it comes off more like that, where he's just like holding on to the charm, and we'll get to that episode later. But no, no, this time around, I started thinking of him as sort of a, he's definitely a fanatic in some sense, fanatic of chaos,
We get a
or
we get a slightly deeper look more and more into his
yeah, I think
spiritual, I don't know, approach or
yeah, I
idealisms in
think he's a
their,
Guru Lahima fanatic maybe.
yeah. But the farther in we get, the more. What was the word we used the other day for talking about not microaggressions in this case, but it'd be like little micro demonstrations of fanaticism,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
more and more present as we go along.
Yeah. So then, so here tells him, he's like, I'm tired of chasing the Avatar like she's gonna come to me. And then and then Tenzin's like, so you didn't use us as leverage? He's like, yes. And Tenzin's like, I think he says something to the extent of over my dead body. I don't know if that's what I don't think
It's
that's what he
no,
said.
it's gosh, what does he say? Something about I'm gonna have a say in that, or whether or not it reflects the over my dead body statement. But
Yeah. So then he freaking just starts fighting all three of them, which is bonkers. Like this is Tenzin not like, I love it when characters are, you think they react a way that the aggressor didn't expect them to react. Like Zahir expected Tenzin to fold. But Tenzin wasn't folding. Like I love it when like someone's holding someone hostage, right? And when someone's holding someone hostage, you're supposed to be like, all right, I'll do whatever you say. But honestly, maybe, well, and not in real life. I don't want to tell you what happens in real life because I don't know what happened in real life when someone takes someone hostage. But oftentimes in fictional, it's like, all right, they're probably going to be hurt anyway, so you might as well try to save them. All right. And so Tenzin is not, he's not going to put it in the hands of them. He's not going to trust them to do what they say also he's not going to trust them because he knows that they have nefarious goals. Anyhow, so he's going to do what he can do to fight back.
Like you might very well cost your life either way, so why not make it worthwhile?
Yeah, yeah.
Spend it wisely.
These are random things I think about. Like, all right, if I'm in a movie theater, someone has a gun. When like fight or flight kicks in. Like, all right, if I'm close to the exit, then I'm going to flight. But if he's right there, then I guess I gotta fight.
If
Like, I
he's
might
right
as
there and
well.
there's a lot of people in between you and the exits, like, all right, well, if I'm gonna get shot anyway, at least want to make the
Yeah.
news, you know.
Yeah, like maybe I can knock the gun out of his hand, and then that will help me run farther.
Serpentine, Chris, serpentine.
Yeah, especially exactly. Yeah, always. Like, don't be that stupid Rick and I think that's his name off of Game of Thrones, bad Game of Thrones. When Ramsey Bolton, remember
When
one of the young
he runs
Stark, one of
straight. Yeah.
he's just running straight.
No, you got a
Ramsey
serpentine.
Bolton is just like, phew.
The shortest distance
He's
between
like,
any
phew.
2 points is a straight line.
Yeah, like zigzag guy. Like, don't,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And this has been Safety with Chris and Shawn. Neither one of us knows
Uh,
martial arts, but we're willing to try.
yeah, I'm willing to put a person. I think if I think about these things, like if a person if there was some type of situation that I had to fight someone, or maybe like someone's shooting and like their back is turned towards me. Like I think I could do a good headlock and just choke them out. Granted, I don't know what type of pressure to apply between choking someone out cold and just killing them,
Yeah,
and
I
so
would
I'll
be
probably
worried
just end
that
up killing them. I mean, I
maybe,
wouldn't
but
be
yeah, if
worried.
you
I would
get
just
if you get the front of their throat like in your elbow or whatever, and you get it locked, like it's really hard for somebody to break you from
yeah,
that grip. It's like, all right, I'm
yeah.
not a capable fighter, but if you give me your back for a second, I might
Just put them in a
accidentally.
full Nelson.
Yeah, it's like I might accidentally murder you, but it would be with the intention
True.
of just knocking you out. I don't know.
And I would probably just keep squeezing
Right, because what if
until
they're playing possum? I don't know.
exactly. No,
I'm not a
I don't.
doctor.
I'm not gonna. Oh, I think he's knocked out. Nah, let's just make sure.
I'm just gonna keep hanging on here while y'all run away,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah. People come in. I think he's dead. I don't. I'm not taking that chance, guy.
it's
You've been sitting here for 5 minutes.
it's
Listen,
you
Houdini can
just
hold his breath for
you
like
got to
10.
do the,
I
the
don't know.
the WWF thing.
Yeah.
Oh god! Oh
All right, then they get up.
yeah. See, I told you I should have killed him. I told
See, and
you.
now we're dead.
anyway, anyway,
Okay.
Tenzin puts up an
One thing,
incredible fight,
there's
and
no.
his first shot is incredible. His first shot takes them all three out.
Yeah,
I feel
really,
like it should
really
have been
great.
more impactful to them. Like they all recovered way too fast from that, in my
I mean,
opinion.
I think everybody recovered. I mean, I don't think it matters who you hit with that. Like, it's the Avatar universe. One gust wind against a wall is not going to knock anybody out.
Makes me pretty sad.
And then he's like, Tenzin Kaya, help me fend them off. Like, and then everyone else get out of here. Get to the bison. And like this team he put together, I guess really just at this point, Tenzin is making the smartest decision he can. Like, Boomy probably isn't the best, but also he can't put his students in harm's way. Like, also if you think about it, like these three, oh, this is the first time I actually think about it. These three are the kids of Aang and Katara, but in this case, I want to talk about Aang specifically because they are defending the Air Temple. They're defending the Air Nation. Like, this is wow. Really, actually would now that yeah, this is actually really great storytelling. Like they are defending Aang's legacy here. It's them three versus the Red Lotus, which I think makes it even better. I don't know why I'm just now thinking about this, but yeah, great stuff there. So Kaya faces off against Pali, and Bumi somehow faces off against Kazan. I really do wish Bumi was a little bit more tactful. Because I'm just like, how is he
Yeah,
getting away
he.
from from like he must just be the luckiest person
I want
Like this
Boomy
guy's
to
a
be a
lava bender.
little more helpful in a
Yeah.
strategic, tangible way.
Like I want him to be more of that. Like
You
I
don't
want
have to
him
be
to
a bender.
be,
You just have to be better.
but I want there to be reasoning behind why he's so good at doing these at being elusive and things like that. Like I almost want him to be sort of like Drunken Master. Have you seen like sort of martial arts things like that, right?
Oh, Chris, my D&D character is a drunken master. I am well versed.
Oh, okay, good. Where
He is
like
startlingly fortunate.
yeah. Where there's sort of this sort of like flow type of deal where you're so loose that you're just more elusive. And so I
The
wish he sort of had a little bit of that skill
anything,
and they
anything.
made it like known like, oh, this is why he's like one of the best. Like he's crazy. Like and you keep that craziness. Like I don't care if the end results are the same. Um,
Just
but just give me kind of a reason
give it
on
a
why
foundation of
instead of
how it's
just
happening.
yes, yeah. Instead it just comes off as pretty dumb luck
My
that
drunken
he's
master,
able to elude this lava bender.
my drunken master in D&D is my favorite thing. Is that if I have two monsters that like I'm stuck in between, or like they're both adjacent to me, and if one of them attacks me and misses me, I can redirect its attack to hit the other thing, and it's called tipsy sway. As if you like, yeah, you just like
Mm,
swayed out of the way on accident, and then it hits the other thing, and it makes me chuckle every time.
yeah.
We would buy.
But
I would buy that from Boomy.
yeah, I
I
would
would
too.
buy that
But
he was a
he
drunk,
doesn't have
which
to
he
be
probably can't
drunk.
show, but I would buy that he
No,
was a drunk if they wanted to go that way.
that would be a dark way to go. I would buy it though.
I, it would
But
track.
I would probably say just more of like a
He's got daddy issues. He was
specialty.
in the armed forces.
I
Like he
know,
could
right?
easily be a drunk.
That's what I'm saying. I can easily say. Uh, but then you get into negative stereotypes of Native Americans.
Here,
So
here.
you got to be careful with that.
Nope, that's
But
reasonable.
also the kids.
Mm.
But I can see him
Well,
taking.
Korra,
I can see
though,
him. Yeah,
you could
I
get
can
away
see
with
him
it at Korra more than.
taking some type of special tea, right? Some type of special tea that just loosens you up a little bit.
Awesome.
An herbal tea.
Yes, awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the world of Avatar has drugs.
I mean, they did
I
the
feel like
cactus
Kyoshi, the
juice.
Kyoshi, dude.
I don't remember Kyoshi. It's been too long, but I mean, they drink cactus juice.
Yeah, they got caffeine. Yeah,
Yeah.
cactus juice. I mean, I'm sure they got something that can take you on a
If human
spiritual
history has shown us
oasis.
anything, it's that people will find stuff that messes your head up, and we
That's
will
true.
put it
Yeah.
in our mouths.
Oh, yeah. Let's just say cactus juice. Yep.
Cactus
Just
juice.
he's drunken master from cactus juice. I like it.
He spent a little too much time in the desert. In
Oh, he learned it
one
from Sokka.
learned it from Sokka. Boom. See, cactus juice. Sokka's like, hey, this is actually surprisingly fun. You should try it when your
Yes.
dad's not around. And he's like, my dad's never around me. And then he drinks the cactus juice.
Uh,
Boom, drunken master. Anyway, Kai escapes.
yeah. So Kaya's facing off against Pali, and I love this fight so much. This is such a good fight. Like I was a little disappointed in Kaya versus Zahir that first fight, but this I think of these two as being fairly equal. But Pali is just a little bit better. Like I just love the scene where Pali has her long tentacle arms and she freezes part of one, and then uh, Kaya breaks it, and then Kaya throws it at Pali, and Pali grabs it with her water arms and throws it back, and then throws like two more ice chunks at her, and Kaya's like blocking one, blocking the second one, but the third one she can't. It hits her, and it's kind of slow mo.
That's you
Just
got the wrong name though, right? Pali is
you are
combustion
absolutely right, Sean.
combustion
Why am
lady.
I saying Puli?
What the heck
Puli is
is
combustion lady. Mingwa.
Mingwa? Okay.
Yeah. Uh, believe for some reason it just feels like a or the waterbender name,
That does kind of. I can get behind that.
and Minghua for some reason
Ming
seems
Water,
to.
Chris. Ming Water.
Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
that's my new. I don't know what you call those little mind games where you connect things.
Yeah. Um, and then like it looks like Minghua like she has this huge freaking like water ice spear that's and she's like about to stab Kaya, and then Kaya like takes water and just throws her off the side of the building. You're like, oh crap, yes. But then you still see the water, and you're like, I don't know. And then the water starts draining up onto the starts draining up, and then it gathers into Mingwa, and like she's just so freaking creepy with all those tentacles and arms.
I love it. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's great. Uh, I don't. Oh, and then so that fight ends sort of when Kaya and Boomy are sort of backed into a corner together, and then they have to they get thrown out of a window. And at one point, Boomy he's on the ledge. He has Kaya in his arms. She's like, Boom, you gotta let go. And then he's like, No, if I let go, then we'll die. She's like, We're gonna die anyway. And I love how Boomy is just like using sort of that air bending. Not
Premonition.
yeah, I don't know if premonition is the right word in this case, but just the feeling of knowing when to let go at the right time. Uh, and this moment is very reminiscent of Toph holding on to the hands of Sokka at the in the finale on the airship. So it's really good, and they fall like it's a rough fall too. Um, and then the fight of Tenzin versus Zahir. Oh my man, like we finally get to see two airbenders fight against each other, and it is such a good fight. Like the way Zahir bends different than Tenzin. Like Zahir is far more kind of acrobatic than Tenzin is. So Tenzin is kind of stiff. Like I feel like Aang was far more acrobatic and fighting than Tenzin. I don't think we've actually really ever seen Tenzin fight another bender until now. Like in season, he didn't do that much fighting in season two. In season one, he was fighting mostly like mecha tanks and stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see him fighting here. But Tenzin just has upper hand on him. Like he is outclassing him almost in every matter. Like so here with airbend at him and Tenzin would dodge it with like you can tell Tenzin is trained in like every single fighting form of airbending and he's beating him. Just the way they're fighting, it looks like a master versus almost I mean, they're very close, but just the technique, you can tell Tenzin is miles ahead of Zahir.
I always pictured Tenzin as like less field experience in terms of using his airbending in combat. Not that
Probably.
like whereas Zahir maybe not airbending in combat until recently, but just general combat
Yeah.
skills, and I don't know, maybe part of that contributing to the litheness and the acrobatics. Whereas Tenzin's
Yeah.
like sort of very practiced in the moves and the motions and the strategy, like war and strategy versus war and practice. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's really fun to see him in full on murder mode.
And then Zahir's like losing the fight to Tenzin. Like Tenzin, if it stayed one versus one, like I think right at the end there, he is like about to deliver a final blow and beat Zahir. And I feel like it's framed that way until they start jumping him. Then on the flip side of that, this whole thing with Kai trying to escape and trying to help them escape. He does a nice little self-sacrifice thing, ends up getting blown out of the air, presumably dead. That was really great. The music kicks in really well there. Just it's shot so well too, especially because you're following Kai like right behind him and everything. Uh, and then at that point, once they scare out the bison, um, they're jumping Tenzin like it's a straight up like gang jump, like just boom boom, like out of like and he's fighting back too. But it's just like he is 4 against 1 because even Pali is firing combustion bending at him from atop. He's trying to ward them all off. And here's like, give up. Like he says in such a way that's almost condescending. It kind of been interesting if he said it in a way that was like begging, like, please give up. Like I'm not trying to hurt you all. I wouldn't have liked that. I like how it is, but it just would have been kind of an interesting take if it was more of a plea to him to give up.
The give up, as he says it, feels a little out of place for Zahir, but not agree. Just not even a nitpick as much as a thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Tenzin says a line is like, "Not as long as I'm drawing breath," which is interesting. It's just an interesting
Little
dichotomy
airbending.
between airbending type of deal, and also just kind of echoes back to Zahir, and he was talking about air and breathing and stuff when he killed the queen. Like, oh, just kind of how the same ideology can be more. And I might be stretching this right here, but no, just the two things are reminiscent of each other.
No, I think it's a nice tie or a nice like parallel,
Yeah,
whether intentional or not.
and then like he says, like, not as long as I'm drawing breath, and then like boom, they just keep beating the crap out of Tenzin. And then in the commentary, Brian said that like they had to reshoot this or re-edit it some way because the camera pans away from the action. That way, it leaves you in the dark on like what happened. But previously, it just lasted like a second or two longer, and he was like, "It was just looking pretty brutal." Like Tenzin would just continue to get the crap beat out of him. We had to edit it down a little bit.
That was probably a good choice.
Yeah,
We get the
but
picture. We didn't need the
that is
extra
true.
2 seconds.
Yeah, and also you still hear the elements being bent against him in his moans, also, which just goes to your imagination. Um, and you're left wondering, like, did Tenzin die? Which I don't think I was ever in doubt, but still good directing that it still kind of puts that thought
To
in your
leave
head. But
it
I was
as a
always like,
possibility, like even if we are pretty sure, but
yeah,
you don't know for sure until you see him next.
like I don't think anyone would ever. I don't think any show has ever left on a cliffhanger that someone might die and they actually did die because
Because
that's
then
not
it's not
like
even a cliffhanger anymore. Then it was just that.
yeah, because that's not even like optimum storytelling. Because when someone dies of something, you want to see people's reactions to them dying. You don't want to break up that flow, that effect.
Yeah,
I mean, I
that
could be
makes sense
wrong.
to
I feel
me.
like
No, I
yeah,
think you're like if you're gonna go through the trouble of having somebody die, it needs to have some impact like then and there in that specific
yeah,
part of the story, not on next week's episode.
yeah.
No, I think that's a fair statement.
And then we find out that Kai's fine, and he's been on this little baby bison, and that's pretty much the episode.
Good because I'm wicked tired.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
But we
know what it
spent 20
is.
minutes talking about nothing.
We and I loved it. Let's do some ratings.
All right. So, audiovisual 9.5. Those fights at the end were just, oh man, they were just so good. The choreography was just so good. Seeing Airbender versus Airbender, so good. The music, Jeremy Zuckerman, just knocking out of the park. You can tell he's doing a couple different things here. Really good stuff. 9.5. Story, 9.5. Also, like this is just it's peak core to me. Well, not really because that's a lie. Because we'll see a couple episodes coming up.
Pete Cora to
Just
this point.
yeah. Um, just just with the way the story is going, just the way that there's so much thoughts about sacrifice and things. You see Korra able to come to the conclusion that she'll sacrifice herself, um, and Tenzin feeling like he'll sacrifice himself. So much good character work done here, and the story just really going. Memorable. Gave it a 9.5. Oh yeah, I did give it 9.5 also. Okay. Grandma, memorable as heck. Love that grandma. But this was a really good episode. Like this feels like the first part of the three-part finale. And it's interesting in watching commentary. Brian and Michael's like, when did we start doing this like two-part finale deal to each season, or even three-part in this case? And then Michael's like, I don't know. It seems like we just we just we just do a season opener and then boom, we're here. Like
2 episodes and then a 10-episode finale.
yeah,
Major climax point.
yeah. So if you can do the math at home, that weighted average is a 9.5.
Very similar ratings this go round. I did audiovisual 9.5, probably one of my favorite overall looking, sounding episodes. A lot of fun things. Really not sure why I didn't give it a 10. I'm sure I had a reason whenever I did that, but it's great. Story, just teeny tiny little nitpicks. There's like I was pretty upset that Tenzin's hit didn't do a little more damage to them, and it was all minor things, but just a handful of I'm just very minor nitpicks. Again, I'm probably being too picky, and I think part of that is spawned by knowing what comes next. Right? It feels like I don't want to like overshoot these episodes and then get to the next episode and not have anywhere else left to go for them. But anyway, it's a great story and it's super duper memorable. The fight is memorable. Grandma's memorable. Even them stealing the airship is memorable. We didn't even spend much time talking about it, but it's pretty. There's some good comedy and clever things going on in there too. So, yeah, it's a good episode. I'm gonna say the absolute worst things I could say would be meaningless nitpicks. So 9.2, and that brings us to, I think it was actually a 9.3. I think I rounded wrong in my head, but 9.3, 9.4. Either way, it's a really great episode.
Yeah.
And Ming-Hua with those creepy water arm.
It gets creepier in the next episode.
Yeah, Ming-Octopus.
Like she does something like the creepiest thing in the next episode.
Yeah, when she's using water as like a solid state grip, so not ice but water as like a solid state grip. And it's not that I can't believe that that's tangible, because if you've ever been hit by like water, or you belly flop into a pool, you're like, all right, it's liquid, but it's got like a solid state effect in the right circumstances. And it's such a specific element of control that she has over this, to use it like solid arms that are also liquid. And that's it's mostly creepy, and she's a great creepy character. Big fan.
She's definitely, I think, it's funny because Gazan's lava bending is probably more threatening than, and also I feel like even Poli's combustion bending is more threatening, but for some reason, like I am more threatened by Ming-Hua, definitely.
I think Ming-Hua's is more versatile than either. Like Poli is always going to have a little bit of a reload time. It's not much, but there is like a reload time, and it's not like a spray. It's not a machine gun. Lava
Holy
bending,
crap.
not like the
How
fastest.
Just...
She's just like screaming like an action movie.
She just goes.
Meanwhile,
you don't need to make those sound effects.
Yeah, she just does it with her face while she's shooting.
Pew 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 pew.
I would do it if that was me. Ming-Hua's feels much more versatile than either of those. Like is like almost as dangerous, more horrifying, creative ways to murder people with it. It's pretty horrifying. She's a great creepy villain. I love her. And hey, this is a great episode. But if you think this one's great, come back for the next two. They kind of act like a 3-part finale, but they all three, take our word for it, they all three stand alone as like they deserve to not be like a to be continued type of thing. They all three stand alone very well, and so we're going to separate them. They do, and I think next episode is the best example of why and how good they can get. So come back next time. We look forward to seeing you. Chris, thank you so much for... No, you're down here now. Gosh, I got to flip it around. It'll mess up my head forever. Chris, thanks for joining us. Listeners/watchers, thank you so much as always. You're the best. We would love to hear your thoughts and feedback in the comments. I'll leave all the contacty stuff in the descriptions. I did find out Dragon Prince is not expected in 2021 anymore as of like September. They said they're not expecting season 4 anymore, but that they have other expanded Zadia universe things coming out. I think I saw like either novel or graphic novel and board games and some stuff like that in there. So, tabletop games. Sorry, not board games. I didn't mean for that to sound demeaning. Thanks so much, everybody. We will talk to you next time.
Just checking out the Lakers game. They lost.
They lost.
Well, they're gonna lose.
Well, and I'm still recording it, so you have to live your pain to the tune of the Avatar closing music, which is,
This team's 0-8.
Oh, and what?
Oh,
and 1, 2.
I was counting the preseason.
That don't count. All right, bye everybody.